Okay, this whole cast for this story is me as Eridan, Kanaya as the rabid Homestuck fangirl, Feferi as my friend and Kanaya's former friend, Nepeta as Kanaya's former friend but now hates her, got into Homestuck because of her, and a disclaimer, I've never read Homestuck. Well, I've tried, I'm impatient, so I may not know everything. I'll try, and since I'm rather verbose, the story will be long. I never really was a social person. In elementary school, I sat alone and was mostly used for worksheet answers by my classmates. In middle school, Feferi noticed me and offered to sit with me during lunch. Feferi also introduced me to Nepeta and Kanaya. I connected with Kanaya the most since we sat together in 2 classes, shared an interest for drawing and video games. Kanaya's weebiness was seen from the beginning, from when she squealed about some bishi that caught her fancy, or came to school dressed as her OC. There were some tensions because of this, since Feferi and company found the behavior annoying. This tension resulted in a huge fight, which divided the group and reminiscent of the way the Berlin Wall divided Europe during the Cold War. It was Kanaya and Nepeta on one side, and Feferi on the other. I was the neutral one, and perhaps this was a mistake. While the fight raged on, Kanaya discovered Homestuck. She took after it with the passion present in insane fangirl types. She bought the shirts, drew Homestuck. She only drew Homestuck. She sometimes neglected her homework to read it. She screamed when she heard the word buckets. She loved ships, especially Soulcat. Once she started crying over it in school. Nothing provoked her. She just started crying. And all the while I started being affected by it too. She started to call me Eridan or Eri, and continued to call me that even though I asked her to stop. No matter where, in front of the teachers, in front of parents, she called me a hipster, which I am not. For my birthday, she bought me some black Ray-Bans and some type of, I guess Eridan glasses are called, a scarf and a cape and some purple hair dye. I'm not appreciative of the gesture. She started to whine about me not reading Homestuck. She once even threatened to tell everybody who I had a crush on. Since I am female and I had a crush on a girl, I could not let that get out. Finally, under the threat of being outed, I started to read it. I only managed 30 pages and got bored. I told this to Kanaya and she flipped. She started to ignore my texts. The only reason she started talking to me again was because Nepeta told her to. Not until the subject of Nepeta. While I was struggling to get into Homestuck, Nepeta did. Luckily, she was actually a sane fan. Sure, she bought the shirts and drew it and fangirled over the character, Gamzee in her case, but she had her limits and she knew when something was acceptable and when it wasn't. Kanaya and Nepeta happily talked about Homestuck all day long in school, but one day Nepeta went over to Feferi's side. Turns out, Nepeta shipped Nerezi, a FF romance. This perplexed Kanaya as she is a type of girl to go aw at gay guys but ooh at lesbians. Kanaya said that Nerezi is gross. This angered Nepeta, and she called Kanaya a hypocrite for liking ships, but thinking that FF ships are disgusting. Kanaya became enraged, and she stopped talking to her. Nepeta, being a person who doesn't really care for people getting angry at her, just left Kanaya hanging. After Nepeta left, Kanaya clung to me. Her behavior became even more severe, as she even got a typing quirk from Homestuck. Vriska, I believe, the one with 8s. Everything I did that didn't correspond to Eridan's personality was deemed out of character. Her grades dropped because all day, in her exact words, she was looking at Soulcat Yaoi. She once called me in the middle of the night because of a plot twist on a school night, but then she got too extreme. It was a normal Saturday morning. I happened to be awake early, so I talked with my mom about shows we liked. The sun was rising. I felt content and peaceful. Suddenly, I hear my phone ringing from my room. I ran to get it. It was Kanaya. I answered the phone and heard some screaming on the other side. Eridan, please help me. I was taken aback. I tried to calm myself. Kanaya, are you injured? Please help me. Kanaya, please. Immediately, I suspected the worst, and I ran to my mom and screamed at her to drive me to Kanaya's place. When I got there, I ran into her house. Thankfully, the door was open. Kanaya's parents weren't at her house. I ran upstairs to Kanaya's room only to see her lying face down with Homestuck open on her computer. Kanaya? Kanaya, can you hear me? Kanaya didn't move at first. I was terrified that a person died because of me. Then Kanaya got up and hugged me. Eri, Karkat and Solix. I pushed her away, disgusted and annoyed. I felt like I was going to throw up. I asked to sit down. Next thing I knew, I was at the hospital. Turns out I had fainted from the stress and the lack of breakfast, not good for low blood pressure and hypoglycemia. My mom and dad told me that they would make sure that Kanaya wouldn't bother me again. Feferi and Nepeta, who visited me a bit later, told me to stop being friends with her. I took their advice and stopped talking to her. And that's where my story ends. Later, my family would move on to a different school district. VB can't talk. To a new school district, not because of Kanaya, and I wouldn't see Kanaya during my daily life anymore. However, I still talk to Feferi and Nepeta. They told me Kanaya's parents took away all internet access, but that was quickly lifted and her obsession continued. I wish her the best, 'cause she's gonna need it. Thank you all for watching. You can go and check out the rest of my channel, click for more videos, or check me out on Instagram where I'm a heck of a lot more active, or even send me your own stories via Tumblr. Thank you guys for watching, as I said before, and I'll see you later. Bye!